What's going on YouTube? Welcome to the channel where I show you the real woodworking hustle from start to payment. Made these two string light post planters plus this stain planter that a customer wanted, but enjoy the show guys. Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Taking you guys right to the build portion because I totally messed up and I didn't push record for the cuts on all of these for the little box portion, but I do have plans and I'm linking them down in the description below if you guys want every single cut piece and member of these string light post planters. I only have the plans for these. I don't have them for the other one that I stained. I will be dropping those soon, so go ahead and look out for those. But as per usual guys, I'm starting off with making the panels, the long side panels, and these panels are just two pieces at 1 foot 10.5. And then I connect them with some legs on the edges there, flush on the top, flush on the sides. Those legs, like I mentioned, you guys can get all those measurements in the plans that I have to offer. But just making 4 of these little panels, 2 per box, and I'm gonna speed up the process here in just a second. Just wanted to kind of just show you guys so you guys can get it down. And also guys, just hopping back to the topic of the plans. The plans are not just measurements on a diagram. They're actually step-by-step. There's actually I designed them for that you guys can actually read them and then build them along the process. So I pretty much explain every single process in the plans. They're my plans that I designed guys, just for you guys. So it's pretty much the video in like a 5-page, step-by-step guide. So if you guys prefer that, go ahead and grab those. And then I'm going to be doing a special just for YouTube. I have not mentioned this on Instagram or anything like this, but if you guys grab a set of plans, message me on Etsy and say you're from YouTube, and I will send you an extra free plan of your choice. All right guys, so just for my YouTube family guys, so if you're listening to this, you can get an extra free plan. Just hit me up on there and say you're coming from YouTube and you saw this video. I'm only going to be doing this for the rest of July, so July 2026 I'm going to be doing this for you guys on YouTube. So holler at me on there and I'll be happy to help you guys out and get you guys going. All right, so just finishing up with these panels here, finishing up with that last one, getting the side leg on there, getting the screws in there. And then I like to start with the ones that I had worked on first because they're a little bit more dry. The glue's drying up a little bit more. So grab those two, stand them up on their sides, get the next the shorter. I mean, even though the box is 2 foot by 2 foot, the shorter sides are like an inch less just because they sit in between other legs, they sit in between other material, but the box does end up being 2 foot by 2 foot. And I am using all 1-inch fasteners, so all the brad nails that I'm shooting with my brad nailer are all 1 inch. And then the screws ideally should be 1 inch, but I think at Home Depot was only selling like 1 1/4. And so if they're a little bit too long, I'll just kind of angle them so that they don't poke out the back. But 1 1/4 inch deck screws is fine. And then just adding this little ledger here, I kind of just I cut it while I'm building just because sometimes the measurements vary like just slightly. So I'll just kind of leave this step to where I'm going to install it. Do it twice. And then these ledgers, I fasten them to the longer side, to the 1 foot 10.5 inch sides. And that's just because the floor pieces and then the shorter sides, they all run in the same orientation and they're all the same measurement, which is I think 1 foot 9.5. And then I just need to put in that filler piece there, grab the table saw. And then that filler piece that I'm doing here, it always varies in size just because some of the cedar, some of the boards, they're not always consistent. So I always just, like the ledger, I kind of just leave this to the point where I'm going to install it. Measure, cut, and then install it. Go ahead and put a clamp there, squeezing the floor pieces. Make sure everything is nice and making contact with that ledger piece. Fasten it all in. And I'm ready to put these top trim pieces, and I'm just kind of seeing if some of my scrap pieces are long enough to use there. And for these that I'm building here today, I'm actually going to make the top trim piece hang over, and it's going to go flush with the inside of the box. And if you've been following me for a little bit, you know that I usually do them flush to the outside, and then it gives a little bit of a hangover on the inside of the box, which would not allow me to put the post in there. So I'm able to do it. I'm able to install these first just because I'm doing flush with the inside of the box. But if you want to do it the other way, you'd have to put the post in first and then do these decorative trim pieces last. But doing it like this, I'm able to get the whole box portion done, and then I can focus on the installing the posts here in just a second. So just getting all those things glued down, getting it nice and cleaned up. Got a nice little box there. Gonna set that to the side and build the second one. I'm gonna speed this up for you guys here. Alright, and for the post installation, I just gotta measure the opening, usually around 21 1/4, and then half of that is 10 5/8. Even if it's like off a 16th, if it's like 21 3/8, I still mark 10 5/8 just because you'll never notice that it's barely off a center. And then from that center mark, I go over 1 3/4, and that's gonna represent the side of the 4x4 post. And then I'll go ahead and scribe that second mark that I made, not the center mark. And then I'll just pre-drill some pilot holes and get the 3-inch deck screws set and ready to go. Bring in my post, my 4x4 post. I'm using an 8-footer, and then just getting these little feet in. So I'll start off with that first screw and then just use it as a pivot so that I can square up the foot with the post. Lock those babies in right there, flip it on over, repeat the process. And then to line them up, I'm just using my square right there on the end so that they're in the same location. Drive in that first one, square it on up, lock everything in, and then we're ready to slam her in. Oh, and then I gotta just mark out the center in the floor, and then that mark that I just made there, I'm just gonna make sure that it sits between the 2x4s. Right, level the box out because my garage is at a slope, and then I'm able to drop the post right in, and then I'm able to put the level right to the post since I leveled the box. All right, and then I get it close, and then I just tack it in with some brad nails just so that it kind of holds it in. I gotta add a lot because those 1-inch brads are not very strong to hold that post, so I'll just put in like 3 each, and then once I got it locked in, I'm able to put 2 3-inch deck screws per end of each 2x4. So each side's taking 4 screws, locking in that post. I'm gonna lay it down, and I'm gonna add some more 2 screws to the 2x4s down from the bottom. Adding that hook while it's down there, and then that one is pretty much ready to go. Setting that second one. Alright, and the last step for these is just to drill some drain holes for water so that water can escape. And I do know what you're thinking, if you're using fir or Douglas fir for the 2x4s and the posts, wouldn't they rot out? And the answer is yes. So I do let my customers know that, and I do offer staining, but most of the time they don't want to pay extra for staining. So not my problem. I do just encourage them maybe to just put the black garden lining in there so that it could protect the 2x4s. But like I said, that's up to them. And then here I'm just getting ready for that next planter. It's a 5-footer, and then so I cut the long sides, and then I use the cutoffs there for the short sides. It is a narrow planter. I think the overall narrowness is only like 10 inches wide. So I'm able to get the short sides off the cutoffs, and then I just got to cut a couple more for the floor pieces. Cutting the legs here, I need 8 legs, and then those little ones that I just cut there were connector pieces. I'll show you what those do in here in just a second. But these are 4 fence pickets high, and then the floor, I designed this planter for the floor to be right in the center. But I'll explain that here in just a second when I get to that part. But just locking in these all the pieces down to the legs, and then I'm going to add those connector pieces. I'm coming in from the side 1'7", and the reason I add these connector pieces is just so that we don't get any separation in the pieces, so that these connectors make it pretty much one whole panel, and it just makes the overall wall here just like a lot more solid. And then just finishing up with the corners after this, adding the side leg. And then like I had mentioned, guys, I'm putting the floor halfway up in this planter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add that ledger in before I connect the 2 panels together. And the reason being is because since the planter is only like 10 inches wide, I'm not able to get my nail gun in there to tack it in. So I'm just going to go ahead and add these in before I connect the 2 panels. So that way I could just drop the floor in, and I'm not having to worry about sticking the nail gun in there or whatever the case is. Yeah, and you could really, I mean, I'm just following like the line from one of the pieces on the cedar fence picket, but if you're building this for yourself, you could literally just put that ledger strip wherever you want. You could put it as high as you want, as low as you want, whatever the case is. And then so I just built that other panel there. Now I'm connecting the two, tacking them in with some Titebond 3 glue, getting those ready to go. And then here we go. I can just add the floor pieces in, and then the only other thing is you just have to notch the floor pieces around those connector pieces, which is not a big deal. It just adds a little bit of more time, but it still makes sure that the planter is one full solid panel and has a good wall. And I'm using, of course, my Wagner 150 stain gun. This thing is pretty cheap, guys. It's only like 60-70 bucks. It's a good tool to have. It speeds up the staining process like crazy. And I just fill up that little tank, add a light coat, just like you see here. I let that coat sit for like 10-15 minutes. And then if I have any puddling, if you get any puddling with this, you just wipe it off. It's stained. It's supposed to penetrate the wood. It's not supposed to like sit on top like paint. So you get puddling, you just wipe it off with like a rag, let it sit for 15 minutes, come back and hit it again, and look at how nice it looks. And just like that, finished on up. This one that I was staining, the customer was coming to pick it up later on in the day. So I just let that thing sit in the sun. Went to go deliver the 2 string light post planters to my wonderful customer. She wanted them so that she can raise up her string lights that she has in her backyard. As you can see here, they're kind of just low, so she's using them to pick them on up. Like I mentioned, made $230 on that with delivery. But that's a wrap for me, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.